Star Trek Prodigy Season 2, Episode 3 Review. Who Saves the Saviors?
Yeah, I saw that coming.
Yeah.
I should have figured it's like, we were the ones who did it this entire time.
I mean,
Yeah, but
it did scream of time loop.
Yeah. Time causality or whatever is said. Okay, no, we already talked about one of them. I forget what they were. What were the two examples the Klingon gave out? The something war and the other thing?
No.
Sorry. Fuck, I'm tired. Why can I?
the Vulcan?
Vulcan.
You mean the
Vulcan.
Vulcan?
Yeah, the Vulcan.
Yeah, you're talking about the Bell Riots and the
Can we talk about that before?
Yeah, and the Cochrane's warp travel.
Okay, so
what's that?
in order, Cochrane's warp travel was from Star Trek First Contact, where the crew of the Enterprise, I think at that time it was E, met up with the Borg. The Borg created a time fissure where they went back in time to try to stop Cochrane from discovering warp travel and therefore meeting the Vulcans. But in order to stop that, they had to both fight the Borg and convince Cochrane to actually go through with it, because he was not this super heroic, star genius that everybody thought he was. He was kind of a drunk and a bit of a dick. And there was another bootstrap paradox tied into that, because he was saying how I'm not a great man. I'm not I'm not this great guy you think I am. And Riker quoted him to him, therefore giving him the quote in the first place of, don't try to be a great man, just be a man and let history decide the rest.
I like that quote.
It is a great quote. It's why I actually memorized it, even though I haven't seen that movie in ages. Although it also does have Picard going full on Rambo against the Borg, because they can't be stopped with phasers. So he went onto the holodeck, onto one of his film noir type, James Bond type things. And so he picks up this Tommy gun, turns off the safeties, and just blows them away. Just like,
why can't we protect against this? God damn.
Well, the thing with the Borg is they adapt to stuff, and so new stuff is always is way more effective. You just have to, constantly do new things. As long as you're doing a new thing, like, it can be actually really effective against them. It just has to be a new thing.
Considering it was like one of those automatic weapons, it gave him the upper hand of a shit ton of bullets in tiny amount of time, so they didn't have time to adapt.
True.
And so, yeah, well, Picard and them beat the Borg up top, and actually Data saved the day, because Data, wanting to be human, always wanting to be more human, the Borg Queen was giving him organic skin to, let him be able to actually feel things. And so he sacrificed that to stop the Borg by unleashing this organic eating compound that just ate the flesh off of all the Borg and killed them, and then just exposed bits of Data's circuitry because his skin was eaten off.
Oof.
in certain patches, not the whole thing, just a bit of his arm and his face.
Still though, oof. Especially if he could, if he was able
He
to
could
feel
feel
by
through
then.
it. Yeah.
Oof.
And then the Bell riots we've talked about.
Oh yeah, we talked about that. Yeah.
Plenty. The whole Cisco went back in time, became Bell, and created the Bell riots by accident.
Oof.
While trying to stop the whole keep the event static, like not from not changing from what it historically was. So yeah, that those were the two examples.
Okay.
And I do suggest watching the movies.
Yeah, sure. I'll get really high and watch them.
Definitely do that when watching the first three. One of them, he's actually no, that was 4, Voyage Home, wasn't it? Where he talks to the whales.
Okay, so I don't know. Okay, so I guess it's like even more confusing now because it's like if it turned out that they're supposed to be there the entire time, you know, to save Chakotay, and did we ever get the bird's name?
Yeah. Andrique.
Oh, Andrique. Okay.
Because remember, look at the beak and that look at the beak on Andrique.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, those Jacob could stop. Just stop.
Hey, I thought even Chakotay thought a couple of them were good. Okay.
Hey, that
He was like,
last one was pretty good.
You got to admit that was a good one.
Yeah. So,
actually, that was the worst one of them, honestly. Fly the Coop. Come on.
So
he could have done better. He did do better.
So if it turned out that they're supposed to
winging it, that was so much better than Fly the Coop. Chuckles, you definitely need to get your sense of humor checked.
Oh yeah. So if it turned out that they're supposed to be there the entire time, does that also mean that dropping the gun was like also supposed to happen?
Not necessarily, because we don't know how it was supposed to play out because they weren't supposed to be on there initially.
Yeah.
Well, we're not sure for certain that that
we do know that he never went to that he changed it from going to Tars Lamore so far, and they have to go and change it back because Gwen just disappeared.
Well,
right when she was about to win.
Well, I mean, she's not disappeared yet. She found that weird cage thing.
Yeah, because she started to go full on Back to the Future.
Yeah, but I figured it would be like she would have just vanished completely when she fell into that cage thing, but it left with her still in it, so maybe something about that stuff is saving her.
It could be that the heirloom is creating some sort of temporal shielding for her or something.
Yeah. Or maybe the new timeline has been solidified or something like that, so it hasn't been permanent yet. Like it's in flux or whatever.
Yeah, there's always a bit of wiggle room.
Yeah. It's like, damn, I had to drop my gun. Wait, who left the thing there? It's like, okay.
Yeah, it's not who left it that's important.
Sorry.
Yeah, the whole business sort of like if this is a new timeline, like the rest of the crew, it sort of backs onto itself because unless they fix it and change where he's sending it to make sure the timeline, stays, consistent. Like he's like it does if he doesn't send it to Tars Lamora, they never find it, and it never, and they never make it back, which means they never come back with the Voyager A and get back on the Infinity, and so this sort of creates this whole breakdown in that time loop.
But keep in mind, they don't, just because Chakotay wasn't there in in Tars Lamore doesn't mean that he didn't make